Rastafaro. Blessings of wholeness, family. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome to the vibes. My name is Akeem Pierre, and today we're going to be going through a preparation video of how you prepare Seamoss. And I know it's like there's so many videos. I've even done 2 already on my channel. But with all those videos, there's still a lot of confusion, and I see so many people with little clumps in their gel, and they ask me like, yo, how do I get smooth gel like you had in your video? So after this masterclass of preparation, you're gonna have everything you need to know to make the smoothest gel, the perfect gel to add into your smoothies, to add into your different recipes, or just take it right back. All right, so give thanks, and first off, we're gonna take the Irish Seamoss that you have in a bag. This is what my Irish Seamoss looks like when you buy it. As you see it, it's stuffed. Like it looks like it's about to pop out the bags. That's how you like it. But when you open it, you're only gonna wanna use a little bit. So let's see. Like this right here may be good enough for you. So we'll start with this, but we're gonna do a little bit more just in case. So here we go. We got this much is what we're gonna start to soak. So first off, what we want to do is we want to make sure we rinse this really well. So we're going to have that, then we're going to put some water. Just rinse it up, bring some water in here. And then we're going to put a little bit of lime into our mixture. The lime helps clean it out a little bit, helps with the flavor, neutralizes the flavor a little bit. So we're gonna use 2 of our limes for the pre-process, for the rinsing, and then we're gonna add some more limes when we do the soaking. But this process, it's important that when you first get your Seamoss, you welcome it to your home. Bless, welcome Seamoss, give thanks for everything you're about to do to my physical structure. Give thanks for the healing, give thanks for the minerals, whether it's 92, whether it's 86, whether it's 100, give thanks for nourishing my being. And just make sure you give it a good rinse. And what we can do is also take this over to the sink. So what we're gonna do, after we give it a good rinse, give it a nice rub, we can just go bring it over to the sink and give it a good rub down. So here you can take the Seamoss, and from here put it in the sink and then just give it a good rinse. And then what you could do is use warmer water, and it'll loosen up the Seamoss a little bit, and it'll just allow you to get in between. Awesome. Then we're gonna get new water for our soaking. Over here. So that's the rinsing phase. The first phase, once you get your Seamoss, is gonna be the rinsing, and next up, we're gonna do the soaking. So here we're gonna get filtered water. If you have access to fresh spring water, you could use fresh spring water. What you just wanna do is make sure you have the water with the most life in it, the least amount of toxins. Like there's fluoride in water, there's chlorine in water in Vancouver. So you just want to get the purest water possible so you don't compromise the integrity of the Seamoss. So here I'm going to use the Brita filter. We don't have fluoride in our water in Vancouver, so this is good enough. I'm just going to put a pretty decent amount, because this Seamoss here is going to expand so much. So we fill that up, and we're even gonna put a little bit more, because when I tell you, this Seamoss is gonna expand to like 3-4 times its size. So we're gonna put a little bit more water in there. And then we're gonna put the limes that we had previously, let them go in there, and then we'll squeeze these other limes. Don't have to do too much, we'll let them in there, just let them chill. And then, the crystal, as I said in the previous video, you could use your crystal to charge your water in your Seamoss if you would like. It's not necessary, but it's just another added touch that I love to do and I love to add to the Seamoss. So we're gonna put that in there, and then we're gonna set this to the side. And the question that a lot of people ask is, how long do I have to soak it for? And the answer for that is the minimum you're gonna wanna soak it for is 4 hours. but the recommended is just do it overnight. So before you go to rest, put your sea moss, do the rinsing process, and then let your sea moss soak, and then it's gonna be overnight, and then you can make your gel in the uprising when you wake up. And a few things that you can do, say you're in a rush, right? If you're in a rush, you could just use warm water. Like, you don't even have to use hot water, just use warm water, and then your sea moss is gonna be ready in about 2 hours. And yeah, this is it. We keep it nice and raw. We don't add anything to it. We don't add any heat. We don't boil it. And I'm gonna show you what it looks like after you're done, after this has been soaking for a few hours. So we'll let this sit over by the side. And then here we have sea moss that has been soaking for about 4 hours. And as you can see, it's expanded a lot. It's much bigger, like the strands, individual strands. You could like run your fingers through it. And I really love to just really actually run your fingers through the sea moss. Like, see what it feels like. Get acquainted with your food. Get acquainted with what you're feasting on. So here it is. We do it raw, fully raw all the time. There's a lot of people who like to boil it, but I don't feel that's necessary. The sea moss is fully raw up until you get it. So you can keep it raw, do the least amount of processing as possible, and show that love to the sea moss. Don't destroy it by boiling it and, you know, doing way too much, all right? So this is good. And as you can see, this is actually much less than we actually pulled out. So this is going to be only the 1 little half. So boom, that is the soaking process. This is what it turns out to be. And then after this, it's nice and soft. Like, as you can see, it's like it breaks apart pretty easily. It bends pretty easy. So that's how you know it's ready to be blended. All right, so with this, what we're gonna do, we're gonna take this water that was from the sea moss and we're gonna put it into the jar, and we're gonna use this for other recipes. I have another video that shows different ways that you could use the water. And one of my favorite ways is to just feed your plants. This is a banana tree. Just give that banana tree some water. Love, love, love. Give thanks, give thanks. Boom, so there we go. We have the sea moss ready. We're gonna put it into our blender. Boom, so now we got the sea moss in the blender, and the next important question I get a lot is how much water do I put in? Because sometimes this could lead to you getting that clumpy gel. So one of the things is just bring the water to about the same level the sea moss is at, but some of you have numbers on the side of your blender. So me, I know my jar has 500 milliliters, so I put the water up until the level of 500. Boom. So that right there is gonna let you know how much sea moss you're going to get after you blend it, so you don't have way too much, and it's just gonna help you know so you can plan to prepare for your jars. All right, so boom, there it is. We're ready to go. And so the thing about when it blends, you wanna allow it to blend enough, because a lot of the times the issue with why we're getting clumpy gel is because you're just not letting it blend enough. So when you first start to blend it, you're gonna see it like dancing around, jumping around like hip hop hooray! Oh, you know, jump around. Like, it's gonna chill out eventually. And you're gonna actually hear it cool out. So you'll see what I mean, but just allow it its process to like blend and get nice and smooth. So you see how it calmed down, now it's really settled? This is your sea moss gel. So take your finger, put your finger in there. See, it's almost perfectly smooth. But we're gonna blend it for like another 20 seconds until it gets really smooth. Boom. So there you have it, here's your gel. It's all ready to go. As you can see, it's nice and smooth. Ooh, this is one of my favorite textures on earth. So it's perfect, it's ready for you to go now. Now, once you have it ready, you're going to get a glass jar. And that's going to be one of the essentials. Is you're going to want to store it in a glass jar, just so you know you're keeping it as pure as possible. So we're gonna put the sea moss into the jar, and then this is what we're gonna store it in. Now you could get a spoon. Me, this is mine. I really just put my hand in it and bring it down. Give time. So you see how it's already settled? Like it's already like a gel. That's perfect gel right here. So boom, is really that simple. And this sea moss here lasts me and the Empress just over a week long, maybe 2 weeks. So we're gonna only prepare enough gel for 2 weeks. This was going to last in your fridge for like up to 3 weeks, maybe a little bit more, but like, nah, it doesn't even need to be in there for that long. Just prepare a little bit at a time, so you only need to use it for like 1 week. So if I'm gonna recommend something, I'll say prepare so you finish each jar 1 week at a time. Every week you revisit your sea moss. Every Sunday you have a day where you prepare your sea moss, and then you just take your time out to do your thing with it. So with this, we're gonna actually leave the lid off until it's a little bit warm right now. So we're gonna leave the lid off until it settles and until it cools and hardens, and then we're gonna put this in the fridge. And then once it's ready, we're good to go. You got your gel. Boom. So after your sea moss is in the fridge for like even half an hour, you can put the lid on it, and then you'll see how hard it gets. So it's the Dairy Queen test. I used to love Dairy Queen growing up. Just to put it upside down, you know it's ready. Whoop, whoop. Hey, if you try this at home and your gel ain't ready, don't be calling me wanting a refund, wanting to get your sea moss back, all right? Do it at your own risk. All right, but here it is. And with this, it's ready for you to put into your recipes now. So right here, you could put 2 to 4 tablespoons is like kind of the average dose that people are using to feel the effect. But what I would recommend is start with 1 tablespoon and then work your way up. Because sometimes all you need is 1 tablespoon and you're gonna feel what it is that you would love to feel, right? But there's really not, you can't really get too much sea moss in your life. So when you're making recipes with it, like say my okra and tomato stew, I put a couple tablespoons in there, couple different recipes, the cakes, I put a lot of sea moss in there. So you don't have to worry too much about getting too much of the sea moss. You know, it comes in abundance and you gotta full enjoy it. So don't be afraid to even put more than 4 scoops in your stuff if you want to at times. You know, but don't feel like you have to take a lot. Like if you take 1 tablespoon at a time, often that's gonna be more than enough. So you don't need to add too much, but if you do want to, if you do like to, go ahead. Like that's all for you. And you know, it's delicious. But here's our sea moss that we had soaking before. And I made the same mistake that like I always get questions about. I do this every time because I'm so amazed at how big this sea moss gets. Like y'all saw how big it was at the beginning, right? Now look how much this is. This is much more than we would want to prepare for our 1 jar. So think about it. Even put a little bit less into your jar than you would think naturally. Like even I made this mistake. So I made sea moss for years now and I still do it. So you always surprise me, sea moss. You always surprise me. How you be growing so much? How you be expanding so much? And you know, I haven't gotten fake sea moss in my life, but they say that if your sea moss doesn't expand a lot, then you may want to check your sea moss supplier. But I don't know, because I haven't gotten that fake stuff in my life, so I can't really speak on that. So boom, we're ready to go. And while we're here, let's just touch on why you even want to have sea moss in your life in the first place. This sea moss is full of minerals. It's full of, say, minerals like sulfur and potassium. And it's going to give you those minerals that are gonna make you feel energized, and it's going to help you feel energized throughout your day. So there's something in here called carrageenan, which is a long chain polysaccharide, which gives you energy throughout your day. So it's not an appetite suppressant, but you just don't really feel like you need to eat because you just have so much nourishment. Because we're in a society today where we're overfed. We eat so much, but yet we still have nutritional deficiencies. Right? That doesn't make any sense to me. So that's why eating your sea moss is so important. That's why it's very important that we get these nutrient-dense foods so we're not overfed and undernourished. We gotta be well-fed and well-nourished. So the sea moss is gonna help you a lot with that. Rich in iodine, which is good for your metabolism. So whether you want to gain or lose weight, sea moss is going to help you with that. And then, as y'all can see, I made the video a couple weeks ago about the face mask. It's amazing for your skin, for your hair. Not mine, but my beard is nice, y'all. My beard is nice. Believe me, a couple years ago, I couldn't even grow a beard, and I'm a grown man. Once I started taking sea moss, I started to grow a beard. So that's just a little bit about what sea moss can do for you. So we definitely do give thanks for the sea moss. And just before we go, I just want to touch on a couple troubleshooting questions, like a couple of the common questions that I get about how I can prepare the smooth sea moss gel. And the main question is like, I can't get smooth sea moss gel. Like, if you watch this video, you may still have the question like, my gel is still clumpy. Like, what can I do? Well, there's really 3 things that I'm gonna recommend that you do. Number 1 is just blend it for longer. So when you go and you taste, you're like, oh, my sea moss is still clumpy. Just put it in the blender and let it blend a little bit longer. Because this blender that I have here is like a pretty expensive blender and it's like pretty powerful. So it takes a little bit, it's a little bit more powerful and it blends it a little bit quicker. So if you have like a $20, $30 blender like I used to have, you just have to let it blend for like 1 minute, 2 minutes, and just blend it until it's smooth. So the first thing is just allow it to blend a little bit longer. And the second thing you want to do, if you're still finding your sea moss is clumpy, is you want to add more sea moss to water. So as you saw, I had the sea moss about the same level of the water. So if you're having a trouble, you may want to add more water to your sea moss and just give your blender a break because the sea moss is what makes it difficult. So once you add more water, it's gonna make it easier to blend. And then the other thing is, don't be filling your blender to the top. Like, don't be trying to get all the way to the top and that's your sea moss. No, like I did about a quarter or max half of your blender and let it blend like that. And then when you do those things, I almost guarantee you, if you have real sea moss, if you got that real straight from the ocean sea moss, then that is gonna solve your problems. So y'all can try that out and let me know if you are having any issues with the sea moss gel still. I didn't do my job. I don't know, I need to call in like Priest Kailash or something because this is above me. But I believe that after this video, everyone who watches this video, you're gonna be able to make the perfect gel, and then you're also going to be able to make the right amount of gel so that when it comes time to preparation, you're not wasting the sea moss. All right, so we give thanks. And a quick thing, this is gonna lead into like a future video, is a lot of people ask like, how do I mix my bladderwrack and my sea moss into one jar? Because a lot of people just want to make it easy on themselves and do it simply. So the way that I do that is, if this jar is 500 milliliters, and I know that this jar is going to get me 2 weeks worth of doses if I do 2 tablespoons. So what I do with this is I'm gonna get 14 doses to put in here. So when I'm blending my sea moss, I'm gonna put 14 teaspoons of the bladderwrack into here, blend it up, and then it's just gonna be in here. But we'll go into that in another video. I just wanted to touch on that because that's also a question I get a lot. So if you're gonna put 14 days worth of sea moss in this jar, then put 14 days worth of bladderwrack in that jar. Quite simple, but it may take a couple times to master how long this jar is gonna last you. But y'all gonna do it. Y'all masters, we all masters here. So keep experimenting, keep having fun, keep like enjoying the process of being more lively and feeding yourself more of that high vibrational foods. This is that Irish moss. You know, it makes you feel irie, makes you feel good. So take that in and full enjoy that process. This shouldn't be a process where you feel like it's a chore or something like it's hard to do. You know, we gotta love and full joy the whole process, because that is going to lead into how we experience our life and what this food does for us. So give thanks for tuning in. As always, I'll catch y'all on the next one. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. And I know there's a lot of people asking, how can I make sea moss? So if someone asks you that question, just share this video for them. You know, be a good friend. But yes, give thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Ja Rastafaro.